guys, it's nice to have you on another engaging episode of Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. I am Henry Wigwe. In a bit, we'll be going to our newspaper headlines to see what we have this morning, and after that will be a main conversation also for today. So while we get everything all sorted out for you, please do well to visit our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With me in the studios today to pose on our newspaper headlines is Barrister Evans Ufel. He is a barrister at law and also public affairs commentator. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
And welcome to Enterprise Morning.
Thank you.
All right, so quickly let's start off our newspaper headlines with the first daily we have, and that's coming from the Vanguard newspaper. And the banner headline here says, Corporate Nigeria shuts down Lagos for Wigwe. And the rider here says, as Dangote Edo, Kaduso, Sanwo-Olu, Adesina, Ike Imokwede orders pay a tribute. And also, on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have why CMs previously linked to NIN were bad, and that's coming from the NCC. And also, on electricity, discos reject 753 megawatts despite the federal government's pressure. Barrister, let's take a look at the corporate Nigerians shutting down Lagos for Wigwe. Nigeria has lost an amiable personality, and I don't know, what do you think about this?
Yes, talking about the former CEO, of Access Bank.
Yes.
It's one great Nigerian who have established himself and his corporation in the corporate space. Okay, someone who, by all stretch of imagination, is known both in the corporate world, the religious world, and a great philanthropist. Okay, so the unfortunate incident happened in the U.S. when he died with the son and the wife, and it's been a very grieving moment for the corporate world. It is not unusual that the corporate world will come out for him in such a time as this. Okay, so it's a sad story. But how be it a sad story, it's important that we use this moment as a time of sober reflection. That no matter whatever it is we have or have achieved in this world, there's a time when we will have to exit the world. So I commend corporate Nigerian for coming out for him to pay their respect. The case is one that has generated a lot of controversy, from the family to
the church itself.
The church to everywhere.
Yeah.
This is a man who has also built a university where he, intends to raise the coming generation with his experience and everything. So it's a case that is quite unfortunate. But we cannot question God, okay?
Exactly.
So it's one that we just have to look at it as a point of reference to the way we live our lives, given that we can go at any time without notice.
And what do you think could be said of the so many things he has left behind? Do you think there's the possibility of running them efficiently, especially with Wigwe University and all the foundations that he has?
If you have a will, I mean, for the bank,
yes,
the bank will be run effectively because, yes, you have a governing board, you have directors, you have shareholders, okay, and you have a regulatory authority called the CBN. Okay, that will be properly managed. Then for his personal estates, it depends on the family. Okay, if he has a will, fine. If he has, but if he's intestate, I think they should have notable people in the family that should be able to
to manage all
his
of
personal
that.
estate, yes.
Very true. All right, so let's quickly leave that on a sad note and move on to electricity in Nigeria. Discos rejected 753 megawatts despite federal government's pressure. Now, it's becoming despicable that a country like Nigeria, which supposedly gives electricity to other countries, do not have electricity themselves. What do you think is coming from all of this?
There's a lot of factors, okay? I mean, first of all, the GENCOs, the TCN and all that have developed capacity to generate, electricity. How be it that it may not be the volume, okay, that is required of a country of this population. It may not be that, but even the one generated, they are unable to distribute effectively because of technical issues.
Technical issues that weren't here before now. Before now, Nigerians used to enjoy at least a bit of electricity. So what's happened to the other side?
I mean, for the huge part of January and February, the national grid collapsed over 4 times. Okay, so those are technical issues. There are technical issues that should be addressed. It is not the responsibility of the GENCOs to go start putting poles and wires and all that. You understand? Theirs is to do repairs when there are issues within the bounds of their control. Otherwise, the what do you call it now? The erection and makeup of all the equipment that's required is the federal government has also handled all that. So their contract is to generate through the facility already put on ground. You understand? So they have been having this problem with the federal government for a long time. Okay, they have talked about losses, part of which they had to increase tariff on several locations. In 2023 alone, tariff was increased 4 times. Okay, and to meet up with the level of what they need to acquire, what they need to generate, how to recoup their investment and all that. And to say that the way the unbundling happened, it was not even done on merit. I mean, the thing was sold to cronies of politicians and all that. So for us to expect effectiveness in that regard, I don't know how I'm going to get effective power supply when the process that led to this new regime is one that is not
even flawed itself.
Yes, so
All right.
it is expected.
Yeah, exactly. So quickly, let's move on to our next. The latest coming from the Punch newspaper. The banner headline here says, "Food crisis. OPS warns of shutdown as hoodlums load more trucks." And the writer here says, "Building materials spaghetti trucks attacked in Ogun, Kaduna." 15 arrested in Abuja. And the sub-headline also here says the federal government condemns warehouse looting, candle store evacuate wares and states to get free grains. And on the top strip of the same newspaper, we have approach Zimbabwe for solution to inflation. That's coming from Obasanjo telling the federal government. And also on the down strip of the same newspaper, we have banks involved in 70% of financial crimes, coming from the EFCC. And as CDC Dompolo man raised on the oil thieves hideout. Barris, let's take a look at this. It sounds funny, but I think it's very important that we talk about that. Former President Obasanjo is telling the federal government they should approach Zimbabwe.
Well,
solution for inflation in Nigeria.
But Zimbabwe managed when they were deeply in crisis, and they were able to manage and came out from it in a very short time.
Because I used to remember back in the days when it was funnily said that to buy a loaf of bread in Zimbabwe, you need the Ghana must go load of money.
The economy was that bad. What Obasanjo is saying is that approach them for a template. They could have the solution to the same problem that's happening here. It's not saying they should go to Zimbabwe and then stay there. Just find out how they were able to manage and come out of it. Do you know that today, Zimbabwe is the only country that the UK import livestock from in Africa?
Whoa.
Livestock, yes, Zimbabwe. So they must have developed certain capacity. It's not every country in Africa that is worn out. Or, some countries in Africa have specialty in certain areas.
They've been able to build templates that work for them.
Templates, yes. The specialties in some areas. South Africa, for example, when you're talking about advertising, they are about the best in Africa. Okay? You go to Ethiopia, there's 1, 2 things peculiar to them that they're very smart at.
Rwanda?
Yes.
Efficiency of leave?
No, I'm not talking about Rwanda, I'm talking about Ethiopia. Okay. So some countries have developed capacity in certain areas, so we cannot shy away from that. But Obasanjo should also try as much as possible to offer his own solution, whether he has solution.
But there's a solution already. But the question is, do you think our president has got the gusto to do that? Do you think his ego wouldn't be watered down if
his ego is why we're here now. Why we've been having this problem. He's been all over the place, throwing jabs to NLC and to even as low as analysts on TV as I'm talking now. The president is ready to respond to me, to tell me that I don't know the economics of governance. He is all over the place making all such statements. But I think there's no way we can come out of the present condition without collaboration, alliance with other either organizations or countries. We must do something to ensure that we come out from this. All
right, so lastly, let's move to our last daily. It's coming from the Guardian newspaper, and the banner headline here says 198,000 pending court cases leave many in jail. Businesses are stranded. And we have on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, federal government to begin grain distribution, insists the warehouse looting criminal beyond hunger. And we have review Olusanya's report before implementation, civil servants tell the federal government. Barrister, this is your area of forte. Maybe you will help us make sense of this. The numerical detail here says 198,432 pending court cases leave many in jail. Businesses are stranded. I want you to draw that connect.
Yes, we have a lot of awaiting trial cases. Okay, we have a lot of cases that were criminal matters that have commenced, have not been concluded. And the courts, neither the court nor the police, have granted bail to the defendants. Okay, usually most offenses are bailable, but bail is at the discretion of the court. If the court looks at the demeanor of a defendant, the court, by its own discretion, can decide not to grant bail to that fellow. Okay, can decide not to grant bail, even though most offenses are bailable.
It's been met, yeah.
You understand? In some cases, they have been granted bail, but they are unable to meet up with the condition of bail, where someone who had committed an offense is asked to go and bring 2 civil servants that are directors, and the civil servants who are directors must have houses in VI and Ikoyi. You understand? And the document of those houses must be deposited before the court. And
where in the world will such a person get such?
So when the bail conditions are like that, the defendants are unable, or the inmates are unable to meet their, so they will remain, they will count into the numbers.
So the question is, why would judges make such pronouncement, knowing that most of these persons can't achieve that?
What is most important, or what is more important, is that the defendant is kept in custody so that he does not jump bail.
So that's deliberate?
You would say it's deliberate, because if the court have seen the demeanor of the defendant, it's someone that will jump bail.
Oh, okay.
The court will not grant it. So you need to go to the court, just take a walk to the court one morning when you are less free. Any of the courts around. You see the number of Black Marians that are coming into the court premises every day. Okay? Every day. Sometimes you have 5, you have 4 in one court. Okay? People are committing. And this period, you have more Black Marians bringing suspects for arraignment, trial, and the rest of it. So it's a huge space. Nigerians who commit offenses and are caught, are charged to court and all that. It's a huge space. So it's going to be like that for a long time. The number will add up. It will, and the facilities will be overstretched. Okay, because it is not the fault of the court. The court cannot be granting bail to everybody. Everybody. But
don't you think there are minor, maybe, cases that the court can just waive? And
yeah,
say,
no, there are minor cases where the court does that too. They do summary judgment. The Magistrate Court has summary jurisdiction. The Federal High Court has summary jurisdiction on criminal matters. Sometimes you are arraigned today. If the person plead guilty the day he was arraigned, there's no point remanding him in custody. The court can go ahead and sentence immediately. You understand? But if the sentence is one that is a custodian sentence, the person is still going to prison to add up to the number, except the conviction or the sentence is a non-custodian sentence.
So I would love to ask, isn't there a way the court can maybe get an understanding of the cost of keeping these people and juxtapose them with its effect in the society, and maybe find a way to maybe find a balance so we can stop, costing so much in keeping these people? And
well, there are penitentiaries everywhere in the world. Penitentiaries are prisons. Sometimes when you keep people in custody, you are helping them to get them reformed where the prison custodies are well managed. Some persons are better off in custody.
Oh, okay.
Yes, by their nature and by their habit. They are better off behind the bars for a number of years until they develop capacity to stay away from crime. Okay, conversely, some persons who shouldn't be in prisons are in prison because of either lack of effective prosecution of their matter to help them leave that place, or lack of diligent prosecution. So you have issues like that. There are factors. The factors are many. There are persons who, when they commit an offense, they go back to the offense after they have been released. I did a case some time ago. Two brothers, were convicted for a robbery. Okay, they served their term of they served their term. No, not robbery. An offense that I can't remember the offense now. Stealing.
Okay.
Stealing, yes. They served their 7 years each. They both came out of prison, and the next month they went to rob. You understand? So they were caught and then brought back to. And at that time, the court is looking at the record that these people are not first-time offender. These ones left prison 1 month ago. They are back to prison. So wouldn't it have been better that the court had kept them away from society up until a point where they develop the mental stability to stay away from stealing and robbery?
Exactly.
So some cases are like that, but some cases they have no business there. Some persons are raided and they are in prison. Some their files is nowhere to be found. You understand? In some cases, for some inexplicable reasons, some people are just in custody. And they tell you how they were arrested and arraigned and all that, you'll be surprised. And they are there. They've been there since only God knows when and all that. So the federal government will have to decongest our prisons, but they must do it the right way.
Exactly.
Yes, awaiting trial, those ones who have been granted bail, they can ask that they ask for variation of the terms of bail. If you're unable to meet up your bail, you can bring an application to ask the judge to vary the conditions.
Oh, okay.
If the conditions are stringent, yes. Okay. So to make it lighter. And if you are doing that in good faith, why not? The court will
grant that.
Yes, will grant
submission. All right. So that's just about the time we have for our newspaper reviews today. I'd love to say thank you to Barrister Vansu Philip for being part of our show today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so very much, sir. Yeah. All right. So when we return, federal FCT residents again loot warehouse over extreme hunger in the country. That and a beat. When we come back, please don't go anywhere.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.